Columbo, he faced cagey criminals and violent villains. But now Peter Falk must face the vixens of The View. Then, Meredith Vieira sits down with a courageous woman who shares her journey back from an experience every woman fears. Plus, don't touch that dial because multi-platinum R&B sensation Usher will make you wanna, well, you know. All that and more next on The View.
I've always wanted to do a show with women who have very different views. Be careful what you wish for. We call it The View.
Years ago this week, someone broke into the home of Nancy Venable Raine and repeatedly and brutally raped her for 3 hours. Like millions of other women who have experienced the devastation of rape, it was a day that silenced her for years and years to come. But now, through the writing of her book, After Silence, Rape and My Journey Back, she has found the courage to speak. Please welcome Nancy Venable Raine. Nancy, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I want to read from this book a passage that I connected to immediately. Before you wrote the book, you actually wrote an essay that appeared in the New York Times about the rape, and you were sitting in a lunch, and a woman mentioned to you that she had read it, and she says here, "I thought your article was well written." This is the woman in the amber necklace. Yeah. "I'm smiling. But let's face it, no one wants to hear about such terrible things." And then you say, "I stare at my salad. I can't think of a reply. I'm ashamed, but not for her." Yeah. I realize that in many ways I felt like the woman in the necklace. It's a very difficult book to pick up, and a book that someone might walk by, because it's true that for all the women who have suffered rape, nobody wants to talk about it. What gave you the courage and, in fact, the need to break the silence?
Well, one of the most important things for me was after that essay came out, I got so many beautiful letters, very eloquent and moving letters, from other survivors, both men and women.
But even to break it in the first place, I mean, to write even the essay.
Well, that was funny because that kind of came up out of nowhere. I was actually working on another book, a comic novel, and I reached a point where I could not write at all. And I'm a very disciplined writer, so that was unusual. And the essay just came up through that one day when I was doing writing exercises. And I realized that I had, in a way, been working on it for 7 years. It was 7 years after the rape, and it turned out that day was the anniversary, the 7th anniversary of the rape.
That day you started to write about it
right.
For the first time.
And it kind of came up like a volcano through the stone. And I began to speak about it. And then the responses I got to that, I kept those letters in a folder beside my desk as I wrote and started working on the book. And I would just look down there and
Did that give you the courage?
It gave me the courage to do it. And family, my family, responsive friends. In a way, people were very relieved that I could start talking about it, that we can start talking about it.
You say in the book that the day of that rape, the woman before the rape ceased to exist, and someone else began to replace her. I want to know who you were before that rape and who you have become since it.
Well, you know, I was 39 years old when this happened. And before the rape, I was very optimistic and a person full of hope. And of course, as a writer and a filmmaker, a great believer in words and communication. And that really, I was deeply silenced. And
you were silenced by the rapist. He told you to shut up.
That's
then you
right.
silenced yourself after, and then people like the woman in the necklace told you not to talk.
Started to internalize the shut up command. And so the person that I became really was a person who then had to learn how to integrate into my life the experience I actually had. And people don't realize sometimes how that rape really is a traumatic experience. It's a trauma.
So you're saying you don't get over it, you really integrate it instead?
I found after years of denying it, pushing it down, saying, oh, I'm over it, I'm better now, no problem, that in fact it came back in another form 4 years afterwards when I began to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. So for me, looking at it, really looking at it, getting past the denial and saying, yes, this has happened, this has affected me, and I'm going to go through it, I'm going to look at it, and that's what the book did.
I don't know how many people out there realize that post-traumatic stress disorder is very common.
One-third of victims will develop it in their lifetime. I didn't know that either. I just thought I was losing my mind.
Well, in a way, you sort of were.
Yeah.
I mean, in the flashbacks. This book, in reading it, I realized that, I mean, sitting in this audience, there may very well be someone who has been raped and may never have shared that. Right. Certainly in our viewing audience, there will be women.
Right.
And men, for that matter. And family members. What message are you trying to send, first to the victim and then to those that surround the victim who suffer as greatly?
Well, to the victims, my main message is that they are not alone. We are not alone. The numbers are huge. 683,000 women and girls are raped every year in this country. That's an enormous number. So that's the first message. We're not alone. And to the families and friends to say that it's very important to try to learn more about what a person will go through when they go through this kind of devastating experience that really changes your identity. To learn about it and to maybe stop being afraid about this subject and realize, because we avoid things that we're afraid of. And so we don't have a chance to learn about this. And it is something you can survive. It is something you can remember fully and find. This book was my way to do it, but find a way to go through life, cherishing really the person you become with these memories still as a part of you.
And a year after your rape, I want to say that you married your wonderful husband, Steve, who's here in the audience. And
yes, he's been a big help.
And a victim of it as well.
Yes.
Unsuspecting at the time, and you both have come very far. I just want to read the title of that chapter about the woman in the amber necklace. You give a quote from Thoreau: "It takes two to speak the truth, one to speak and another to hear." Thank you for speaking, and we certainly listened. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you for having me.
After Solids, break in my